Let's talk diplomatic powers. And when I'm talking diplomacy, I'm talking about interactions with other countries. And the president is the chief diplomat. They're in charge of our interactions with other countries. And that means that they also themselves interact with other countries. And when the president can't do it, they can also send their ambassadors. Essentially, every president gets to choose their own ambassadors to other countries. So, for example, there is an ambassador to the United Kingdom, there's an ambassador to France, there's an ambassador to Russia, and that person lives in their host country. They live in the other country, and they are the close communication link between the United States and that country that they're in. So typically, you pick someone that knows that country well, knows the customs well, and can provide a good link for your presidential administration. Now, your ambassador does have to get approved by the Senate, so that is a part of the kind of formal powers that faces Senate criticism. Now, along with that also is treaties. Treaties have to go through the Senate. So if ever the president wants to work on like a peace treaty or an economic treaty with another country, it has to be approved by the Senate before it takes effect. Even if the president agreed to it, shook hands, signed papers, that doesn't mean it's official until the Senate actually approves it. So, for example, the US government recently got rid of the NAFTA treaty and replaced it with the USMCA treaty, the US Mexico Canada agreement, to open up trade between the three countries in North America. This was negotiated by the Trump administration but had to go through the Senate for approval before it was official. So it became official this summer, and that was a big example of a treaty. Now, embassies, I'm not going to talk about this too much. That's where the ambassadors live in foreign countries. And the U.S. can accept embassies and ambassadors from other countries as well. So part of the president's powers is accepting communication from other countries. And lastly are executive agreements. And executive agreements are one of those powers that are not in the Constitution and provide a way for the president to kind of work around the legislative branch, which may or may not be seen as a fair way to do things. And an executive agreement always reminds me of an executive order because it kind of works like this. Imagine a president goes off to France and meets with the president of France. And they both come to an agreement to tell their executive branch to do something. So it's kind of like an agreement. It's kind of like an executive order slash, it's an executive order acting like a treaty in a way. So, for example, President Obama worked out an agreement with multiple countries to lift penalties on Iran in exchange for Iran accepting a bunch of nuclear weapon, or not nuclear weapon, but nuclear facility observation and nuclear facility monitoring to make sure that they weren't building nuclear weapons with their nuclear power plants. This agreement was never approved by the Senate. It was never discussed by the Senate. It was just worked out by the presidents of multiple countries. And the president was using his executive powers to essentially make that deal. But anything made as far as like an executive agreement or executive order or signing statement, is something that can be overturned. And in this case, the Trump administration did overturn that Iranian nuclear deal.